So it's wonderful seeing everybody today. Thank you for taking a little bit of time with me. And we're going to go through a couple of things. And obviously, if there's anything also on your mind, this is an open season for to kind of get some things off your chest. There might have been some questions you had regarding your health or training or a question or nonsense that's going on, whatever. Just make sure it's health related, yo. Don't be going up the. I don't want to hear about no politics. Nope, don't want to hear it. I ain't got nothing for you on that. Shoot, I'm barely watching the news, so I couldn't even tell you. I don't even know.
Ain't that the truth?
I don't even know.
Ain't that the truth?
Somebody said, "You don't watch the news, Wallace?" I said, "No, not really." He says, "Well, how do you know what's going on?" I said, "Look, if the world about to end, somebody gonna tell me. Somebody is gonna let me know. I ain't got to know. I ain't got to know. Anyway. So
That
it's
might
good.
be too late.
Huh? It'd be too late. No, it's gonna be right on time. It's gonna be right on time. I'm gonna let y'all fools run around and act out, and you could lead the way. Then I don't gotta get hurt. When you go forward, when you go first, sometimes you get beat up. So I'm gonna let y'all go ahead. Let y'all go ahead and do it. So good. So let's first of all, it's amazing because we've been through COVID in a year. It's been 1 year in COVID. 1 year in COVID.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
1 year.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about that?
1 whole year. Yeah.
That you could use this you could have used this time to your advantage, or you could just be upset and bothered because we're in COVID. Right? I'm going to put everybody on mute. And if it's a question, you can always unmute yourself, and that way we can keep it together. All right, good. So one of the things that I would say really it was almost honestly a benefit. The benefit us being in here, hopefully you took advantage of it. Right? Because yeah, of course we were thrown out of kilter. Our habits and everything had been put out of the place, and obviously it's been kind of hectic. But at the same thing, it's also been a blessing in disguise, because we've been, just like our diet, just like our exercise, just like everything we're doing, we've been running on autopilot. Our life has been on autopilot. So since it's been on autopilot, you don't even realize. You get up in the morning, you get in the car, you drive to work at the exact same time. And matter of fact, you could see the same people on the highway when you leave in the house. You would leave the same time, and you literally look to the side and you see Billy with his coffee, and he going to work and you going to work exact same time. And sometimes you're so exhausted, you get to work and you're like, oh snap, how did I even get here? Right? Because that's what you do all the time. This has disrupted everything. So one of the things I was going to focus on to talk about today was stress. Talk about stress and worry, and how that it's very detrimental to your health. Very much so. So, obviously the 4 things we always talk about is your eating, your exercise, you're getting your water in, taking your nutrition, getting your sleep, but also stress. And the worst thing you can do is worry about everything that you have no control about. So I hope that during this time, because a lot of people were stressed just literally because of going back and forth to work, just to commute itself. Well, look at the benefit of you not having to commute all the time. Now you're able to sleep in a little later. Some of the stresses, you don't have to deal with these knuckleheads at work. You can be home and you can focus on other things, more family time, more things that you could do with the time that you currently have. And look at this. COVID basically told employers that, you know what, it's a more benefit for me to have y'all at home. Y'all are more productive at home than at work. Because at work, you're going to take an hour and a half lunch. You come in late. You at the water cooler talking to your friend. You on the phone. You trying to figure out how I'm gonna get out early and get in late, and you claiming about the traffic and this, that, and the other. But now they got you for 8 hours. 8 hours. And if you're disciplined and you're a hard worker, they working you to death. Working you to death. And then they start looking at their stats and like, yo, wait a minute. We make it. If we look at the hourly work these people are putting in, we winning with them being home. So matter of fact, y'all stay home. But see, COVID would have never put these employees in that situation because the employers said, no, you go to work because that way I can control you at work. That was their assumption. But the true facts is that you're more beneficial at home because you're in an environment that you feel comfortable. You don't dealing with all the stress. You don't dealing with all the nonsense. You're saving money. You're saving money on gas. I mean, even my insurance policy, they sent me money back this year, because they're like, well, we actually had a cost saving. So here's some money back based on, your insurance. I mean, hey, that's cool. I'll take it. But the benefits are that you no longer really have to deal with that stress. That's one elimination. The only thing now that we have to basically be in control of our time at home. Because sometimes we have a mentality is that, you know what, I'm home, so let me just keep going. I'm going to keep working. I'll keep going. And that's not healthy either, right? So we do got to learn how to start and cut off. So one of the things that we're going to talk about quite a bit today is going to be talking about worry, talking about stress, how it being detrimental. Couple of things that we did do, and I'm open to your feedback, but you notice that we've been really cranking up the boot camps, the Monday, Tuesday boot camps. We've been cranking them up, and not only we cranking them up, but we were basically making a lot of different exercises, changing them up. I've been pushing you hard, but the key is that always remember, do what you can do and a little bit more. Just don't do what you can do. Do what you can do and just a little bit more. But what I want you to also understand is that know your limit. Don't be looking at me because I'm a fool, right? Don't be trying to mirror me. But what you do is that at least, that you can see, okay, what Wallace is doing, I'm going to do just this much. And matter of fact, since he said this modification, and maybe I'm having some knee issues right now, I'll do the modification. So thanks, Wallace, for giving me that tip. So the biggest thing you want to do is that while you're doing your activities, it's so important to get your rest. Continue to drink your water, looking at your food consumption, making sure that you're eliminating the stress. And you know what? We're in COVID, but that doesn't mean that you have to have the mentality like woe is me. This is the end of the world. Because it really isn't. You really should make the best of the time you currently have. So look at it positively as opposed to, yeah, we've been in the house for a year, but I hope you took a lot of this time to reflect, right? It's a perfect opportunity to take some time and reflect on what we could have been doing. A lot of us waste a lot of the first 6 months. A lot of us just wasted it. So I hope that the second half, and you know what, we might be in here a couple more months, unfortunately, but that you're taking advantage of the time that you have before we get back into, well, the truth is we're never going to get back to where we were. I don't see it. I mean, maybe, but I don't really see it because life has literally changed in front of us. And it's been a blessing, but also maybe a curse for somebody too. You just got to make the best of what you have currently and then go with that. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about was, and I thought this was a great idea. In fact, 2 people brought this up to me the last couple of weeks. And I wanted to put it out to group and then get your feedback. And maybe everybody may not be interested, but I think it would be awesome because one of the things about being in this group or us training, you have a form of what's called accountability. And if anything, that's really, 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 when it comes down to it, that's really what people need, is a form of accountability. You know, that if you slip up every once in a while, you know, you can get back on board. And the beauty of that, you're not going to get judged. You know, you just, hey, brush yourself off, look at what you did, and keep it moving. But what I think it would be a great idea is that implement what's called a accountability group, or let's say it would be an accountability buddy. An accountability buddy would be somebody in the group that would be willing to tag team with someone else to not only, you know, you have the accountability of, you know, your habits and everything with the Trainerize app, but you physically have somebody else that's goal oriented like you, and you, the two of you within the group, internally have an internal commitment, almost like a team player, you know, bouncing back and forth, that, you know, the majority are going in the same direction anyway, right? You're shooting for the same goals, but the beauty is that you have somebody else that, you know what, you might have sending them a personal message within the Trainerize. Hey, how you doing today? And you're like, well, I did good. Or, you know what, I didn't do that good. He said, girl, go ahead. You got it. You got it. You know? So it's one thing you and I communicating back and forth, but there's a second group that that there's somebody else within the group that is willing. Some people may not. Some people's like, cool, I'm just gonna run this thing by myself. I ain't got to be fooling with nobody else. But there's other people that would love to have somebody else as a partner to keep each other lined up and moving forward. So the question I want to put out to you, and I'll put it out to the rest of the group, is what's your thoughts about having an accountability buddy, accountability group, but really accountability buddy, one person that willing, that the two of you have an agreement and say, look, let's just keep each other accountable internally. And that way is just another form of being consistent and persistent. So if you want to, you can put yourself on mute, but I'd like to get your feedback. I'll ask everybody else because I'll put it out on the platform later, but I'd be interested to find out what's your thoughts about having an accountability buddy.
Wallace, then to the others, my name is Jennifer. I was just gonna say, I don't know the other people. Can we introduce each other, introduce ourselves? So at least if we're a core group that we're gonna see each other frequently, then could we introduce ourselves?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and I don't know how many people are on the Zoom tonight.
Yeah. So normally I'm surprised because usually there's a lot more, but everybody, you know, things got, what I end up doing, if you can't do the Zoom call, I end up recording it and then I end up posting it tomorrow so other people can look at it. But normally there's a lot of people. I don't know. We won't worry about that part, but yeah, sure. Let's, if you're on the call right now, let's introduce each other and that way we can, sure. So Jennifer, why don't you start first and everybody else will.
I can. Okay. My name is Jennifer Gooley. This is I'm probably a week or a half into this. I decided to do this because, you know, I'm having all kinds of, I'm like 57 going on 58 this year and I have a whole lot of pain that I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
I don't really do
You're up.
I begged from home for last year. And he said,
hey Jennifer, you think your transmission was going slow, but you're on mute right now. You're on mute.
So
Excellent.
I've got 3 kids, so that's been very stressful in the that's been extremely stressful in quarantine. I have a babysitter. In the beginning, I didn't have a babysitter. I have one now, so it kind of helps out. I would love to have an accountability partner. They'll get mad at me a whole lot of times, but it would be nice to have someone to push. But I live in the Eastern Shore, so I'm out in the Eastern Shore.
Excellent. 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 Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Denise Love, and I started with Wallace. I'm going to say it was either September or October of 2020, and I am active. I teach for Prince George's Community College dance classes, so I'm busy, but I joined his program because although I'm active quite a bit, it was my diet. And he just attending UB Fit boot camps and his sessions since October of last year has changed my life. Um, I have lost 11 pounds, and again, I do exercise a lot, but it's what I was eating. So I just thought I knew everything about nutrition and diet, but I wasn't really eating properly. So that has changed my life there. And water, I'm still not where I should be, but I'm drinking more water than I ever did in my life. So I thought maybe I'd stick with the program for a month or two, but when I thought that, I still had some bad habits. So again, I've been in the program since last year, and I'm remaining because I think these were habits I had for so many years that I really have to change my way of what I put in my system. And that's why I'm sticking with this program. As far as my schedule, Wallace, I'm independent because of me, busy and teaching.
Yep.
So I don't think I would be beneficial to someone else. So I would prefer staying, as an individual.
Sure. I understand. I understand fully.
And
Well,
I
thank you.
think that these sessions are necessary because every time I join, I learn something new.
Yeah.
So it's a continuing learning process in this program.
Yeah.
Thank
Hmm.
Thank you, Denise.
you.
Yes, ma'am. So,
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Miss May Hudson, and I was doing a one-on-one with Wallace a year ago, more than a year ago,
mhm.
and I started that because I was struggling with my weight, my mobility, my everything was off. My eating wasn't the best, but it wasn't terrible. But working with Wallace changed my focus on eating, and the water part of it was really, really a life changer for me because I thought I was using enough water. And then Wallace just blew me out of the because he's like, oh no, you're not even close. So that was a life changer for me. And one of the things though that I struggle with is I am not a meat eater. I have a hard time with meats. And so the protein part of it has been a challenge for me.
Yeah.
So I've been playing around and Wallace is looking up my trainer eyes and okay, she's trying to figure it out. But so that is something that I stay with him and I stay on the program for, not only because of movement and getting me to work out. And one of the things I noticed in the pandemic, I had become very sedentary. So I would love a accountability partner
Mhm.
because I have that tendency. One of my hobbies is reading. You don't move when you're reading. So yes. So I am with Wallace and staying in it because I need that accountability to keep moving and keep working out and still trying to figure out my diet, especially since I am not a meat eater.
That's good. Thank you, Ismay. So I'm gonna suggest that Jennifer and Ismay, that inside the Trainerize app, just send each other a message, and the easiest way to do that is just say at, and then send it to her and back and forth. You can exchange numbers and internally, but please involved also in the loop while you're doing it, because the beauty of that is that keeping each other's accountable is excellent, but we also want to make sure that we don't steer away and get all thrown off, because sometimes not saying each other's advice is not practical, but sometimes we're bouncing each other's stuff and then all of a sudden we're like way off tangent, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's going to be great. I definitely would suggest the two of you connect over the messenger, and I think that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. That'd be excellent. Good. So the other thing that we were talking about, and I noticed I just saw Wanda Davis just came on, and I don't know, Wanda, we were talking real quick. If you wanted to introduce yourself, we were talking about actually doing.
Say sorry, I was on mute.
Okay,
I'm
we were
sorry.
doing.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Can you
Wanda.
hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm walking. Not walking, but I'm walking. I am Wanda. I started actually, Mary Bryant referred me to Wallace, and in June, I started doing some of the Saturday workouts, and then I joined a challenge, and now I am a client.
Yeah, she
So
getting-
I just wanted to make a change, and I was kind of already in that mode, but he stepped it up like 100%. So it's been a great journey thus far. I'm excited about what has been happening, and he shared so much valuable information, and it's good. It's good. It's a I guess a self booster, not being vain or anything in it, but it's just that it does give you hope and encouragement that you can do it. And, no matter your age, and I'm 63, so I'm feeling, grateful.
Mhm. So now she gets a butt kick full time. There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Nice.
he does not play. He does not play.
That's good. That's good. What we were talking about was we're introducing each other, but the second thing that we were considering on, because a couple of people mentioned that. In fact, Ismay was one of them that mentioned it, was implementing a buddy program. In other words, having two people within the group that is willing to do it, is to be accountable to each other inside the group.
Mhm.
So it'd be accountability buddy group. So two people that would think that would be a great idea would connect with the other person and hold each other accountable and that's essentially just another form of accountability.
Right.
So I'm gonna approach that, and we were talking about whether people thought that was a great idea or not, and some did, and some, everybody's personality is different, and some people are just super busy.
Right.
That it may just conflict. So it's just something to some food for thought. If it's something of interest, I'm gonna send a message to everybody just to get everybody's feedback about it. But it's just something for you to chew on. That's all.
Mhm.
That's all. I don't know who iPhone is. I'm trying to figure out who iPhone is there in the back there, all blacked out. But
No, that's me. I'm sorry.
okay, I see you now.
I'm sorry. I was picking my salad.
Oh, okay, all right.
My name is Angela. I've been with, I guess it'll be 2 years in April. And so I came to him at a moment of loss in my family. And I must admit, I was a little depressed and I was eating and so forth. And so I saw Wallace at LA Fitness and he was teaching a class. And I was like, wow, he has so much energy. And I put my name on the list and he started sending out his UB Fit emails. And I reached out to him. And from that day forward, he has really been a blessing in my life, encouraging me and pushing me beyond limits that I even thought I could, I could go. So the program is excellent. I'm going to continue on. I have goals to meet. My major hiccup was my eating habits. Honestly, just eating, period. I just don't eat enough. But I'm getting better with that, with Wallace's encouragement. So I'm just happy the program.
That's nice. You all right. You all right. You are all right. You all right. Excellent. So what I wanted to do is I want you to chew on that a little bit. I'm excited because, and I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress, but I've been talking about it for several months. But it's UB Fit University, and it's actually a separate website. That's actually going to be a training and development website. So a lot of the stuff that we do, but it's actually going to be, a lot of people are asking for just a site that would be basically an education, nutrition, exercise component where you can literally go in there and have let's say if you want to know something about stress or nutrition or management or whatever, that you can literally have a training session that you can literally walk through in evaluations and everything else. So literally it's going to be an education site, a separate education site on top of, so as a client, it's open to you that you can use it as you wish. Other people that are not clients, but they can purchase a training or whatever they want to do and so on. So I'm excited about it, but it's a work in progress because, man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So we're doing it little by little. I've been teasing you a little bit with a couple of the videos and this, that, and other, but we getting there. So what I wanted to do now, and some of you may have already heard it, but I sent a couple of days ago a video about worries. And ultimately, the video was about, we worry about so much, but 92% of the stuff we worry about, you shouldn't be worrying about. Ultimately, you only should be worrying about 8%. So it's a short YouTube video that I uploaded. So I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna play it just in case you didn't hear it. But even if you did hear it, I can promise you that you'll get some value from it. So let me just switch my screen and I'm going to play it, and we'll go from there. All right. So we see. 1 second. Do this. Excellent. There's the screen. So, all right, let me play this, and I'm going to turn up the volume. And 1 second. 1 second. Hold on, I'm going to have to replay it. This thing ain't loud. Hold on. Should be louder than this. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I can't get it louder. Hold on. No, actually, you can't really hear it, can you? No, right?
No.
All right. And I can't get it to get louder. So what I'm going to do is, I had 2 videos. I will not play this one. I can't get it louder. So the other one I know I can. For some reason, this one is low. But essentially, what the video, and I'm going to go back out. Basically, the video, and I'll switch. There's another video I wanted to talk about. That this video was basically saying that we worry about 100% of stuff, but the truth is that 92% of the stuff we shouldn't even be worrying about. Because the way it essentially breaks down is that 45% of the stuff that we're worrying about already happened. So 45% of the stuff already happened. What are you worrying about? It's done. It's over with. 20% of that, of the things you're worrying about is irrelevant and really has nothing to do with you, right? It may be something that's happening right now, but you can't do anything, nor do you have any impact about it. And then you have another percentage. You have another percentage that, yeah, it could be a potential issue, but you're worrying about it. But the truth is, most cases, it's never going to happen to you. And then you got the last 8% that most likely will happen to you. So here it is at 92% of the stuff that we're worrying about has no impact on us whatsoever. And you only got 8% of the stuff that's actually going to happen. But what we do is we get ourselves so whipped up in a frenzy about all the media, everything that's going on, stuff that happened before that you can't control anymore. And we're stressing over and over and over. And what it's doing, it's critical to your health. Right? So what we got to do is, first of all, if it happened already, just learn from it and keep it moving. So check off 45% right there. The other 20%, listen, if there's some fires that are going on in California, what are you going to do? You're going to fly out there and put on a fireman's hat and go and hit those brush fires? What you going to do? Nothing. Now, I feel bad for them and I'm going to pray for them. Absolutely. But I don't have impact. I have no impact whatsoever about it. Right? If they decide in Texas that they want to take their mask off and go about their business, I feel bad for them and I'm going to pray for them. But I can't do zero about it. So why am I going to be talking about it and being upset and everything else? There's no impact. And I'm not being selfish, but remember, you got to live your own life at the same time. And you can't let so many ancillary things consume your time, because then you have a tendency to lose your way, your focus. So we got to look at those things. And then there's other things that, yes, yeah, we should be worried about. And I won't use COVID as a scenario, but there's something else that's coming. The media said, oh, this thing is coming. And, okay, I get it. For example, when they were saying the other day that, look at the date, they're supposed to take over the Capitol again or whatever it is. Okay, that's fine. But I'm not going to be down at the Capitol. And there's no impact for me. All right, so I got it. It never happened. But a lot of people are looking at that day like, oh, is something going to happen? What's going to happen? Are they going to come to my house? No, they ain't thinking about you. It has no impact for you. So what we have to do is we got to eliminate a lot of the stuff that is sabotaging what we should be doing, because we're putting too much time on stuff that's not really should be your focus. So if you're going to worry about something, let's worry about stuff that impacts us or our family in general. Our sphere of influence is the only thing we really should be worrying about. You can pray for everybody else and you can wish them the best. And if you want to send some money to them and, donate or whatever, excellent. But you can't consume yourself and put yourself in multifaceted positions and then expect for you to get what you got to get done too. So let's not worry about so much stuff. The other thing I was going to do is I wanted to share with you another video, because there were two videos that was on my heart. So I'm going to, hopefully I get this one. This one was actually, we taught, it was around the holidays, but it is very, very, the the timing is very good right now. So I'm going to play it and then we're going to talk about stress. So let me share my screen again. I hope we can hear this one. I hope so. All right, let's get it. Excellent. All right, let's try it. Great day, everybody. Welcome. This is your UB Fit Short for today. Today's UB Fit Short is, are you stressed? Let's face it, holidays is here. And when the holidays come, situation starts to change. You think about an environment, what's going on right now, everything's happening. And as the holidays come, we have some memories that, it just all kinds of things can happen. It could be finance, it could be relationships, whatever it is. But we end up having the stressful situation. Not all the time, but this is usually the time that it usually comes more than ever. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it because I had mentioned something about it yesterday in my UB Fit tip. And stress is serious. I mean, most people go through it. And a lot of times what we do is we go into what's called emotional eating. Emotional eating happens usually when you get stressed. The first thing your body's looking for is something to make it feel good. And what ends up happening is that it's never carrots, it's never vegetables or broccoli. It's always a high carbohydrate, like the cakes and everything else. And what it does, it sends dopamine to the brain and it makes you feel better. So that's fine because stress happens. And the beautiful thing is that if you have short-term stress, that's perfect because if you get into a fight or flight scenario, guess what? Your body shuts things down. It doesn't say I'm hungry anymore. It actually takes the body and puts it into position to say, hey, let's go, 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 go. And eventually that will come back. You're not hungry. It changes to the direction exactly what you need to do. However, if you're stressed for a long period of time, that's a completely different scenario because now chemical reactions in your brain says, hey, I don't know, but I'm just hungry all the time. And we end up depending on foods in order to eliminate that stress. So it's serious, it's real, it's emotional stress, and it's something that we all have to be conscious of. So I want you to be conscious of that, but I also want you to think about some other remedies that you can rectify that. Some of them is exercise. Low intensity exercise is a perfect remedy to eliminate stress. Mindful eating. That means that the food that you're eating, think about it before you put it in your mouth. You're just not taking it in. You guys also, certain things that you have to think about is that why are you eating the food? What is it that's right now that's challenging you that is making you want to eat to emotionally? Maybe you want to talk to someone. Maybe not even just a counselor, but maybe just to run it off somebody that you love and can trust and give you honest feedback. So emotional eating is for real. And it can be rectified, it can be eliminated, but we also have to be conscious that whenever we put it in our mouth, it's going to be combat you down the road later. It may not be a benefit to you, but you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So I hope that helps. Emotional eating is for real. We just want to be conscious of what we're eating all the time. And if changes need to be made, it's all about you. If you need help, make sure you get it. Have a great day and you be fit. Excellent. So what I wanted to talk about that was just to dwell on that, but not necessarily emotionally eating, but just talking about stress in general. When people say that stress kills, listen, it absolutely does. And when we spend so much time, the stress itself, we have what's called, and it was talked about in the video, that we have what's called a fight or flight response. Every one of us has the same thing. God gave us that's basically all of us have that same response. The response is designed really from the caveman days, right? But we still have the trait. The trait is that if something happens or something occurs, you have two choices. You either defend yourself or you run. That's it. If the flight or fight response, and every one of us have that, you defend or you run. And that was really, if you think about it, it was very practical for people in the prehistoric times because you're in a cave or something like that. If a bear comes, what you going to do? You're going to run or you're going to protect your family. One of the two. But here's what's devastating, but also practical. The benefit of the benefit, okay, the benefit is that when you are stressed, there are hormones that discharge from your body. And when the hormones come, what it does, it actually jacks up your insulin because it's adrenaline. That adrenaline comes and it actually affects the rest of your body. But what we don't realize is every time we stress, you're pushing adrenaline inside your body. The issue is that when you continue to push adrenaline inside your body, it continues to build up, but that now sabotages your weight loss. So what happens is your body, and we talk about this, we joke around about it, but your body has on demand about 30 minutes of activity that's available that if something happens, you defend yourself or you can run. So it's a certain amount of sugar, or let's just call it glycogen, is in your system. It's available at all times. And that is that quick response time where you can just do what you got to do to get out or run away or defend. But every time you stress, what your body does, it pushes out a hormone that is a form of adrenaline. And every time that that comes out, it impacts your health. So think about this. You saw something on the news, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. You might have saw something on the news and it was really traumatizing to you. What happened was it injected adrenaline inside your system. If a police car runs behind you and then the siren comes on, you're like, oh my God. And then it drives by you. But that's adrenaline, right? So every time you stress, there's a little punch of adrenaline that goes inside your system. But over time, that adrenaline combats your system and makes you do two things. It makes you hold on to the weight you currently have, but it also triggers a hunger response. So every time you're getting stressed, what normally happens after that? A combination is you looking for something to make you feel comfortable because the adrenaline overwhelms your system. And now you're like, okay, well, you don't realize it, but you're like, I'm hungry, but you just ate. So what's the deal? The middle of the night, it's the exact same thing. Whether you realize it or not, the reason why you got the munchies in the middle of the night while you're watching Netflix or any of the other Amazon or whatever shows is that your body's actually stressing because it wants to go to bed. But it can't go to bed because you want to watch 5 shows and stay up till 4 o'clock. But your body says, no, Ismay, we're supposed to go to bed at 11. But no, you want to stay up till 4, which is 5 hours later. You're struggling. Your body's like, I want to go to bed, but we're going to watch the show because that's what you want to do. But you're putting stress on the system. Because the truth is your body wants to go to bed. So in the meantime, it's stressing the body, but the body goes, I need to feel comfortable because I don't like the scenario I'm in right now. So what it does, it impacts the system in saying, I need sugar. And then your form of sugar is going to be whatever it is that your treat of the day is. But it doesn't have to be sweet. It could be chips. It could be pretzels. Because remember, they're all carbohydrates. And what do they turn into? They turn into sugar. So you don't have to get a bowl of ice cream. You can get a bag of chips, which is going to convert itself into sugar. Now, here's the rough part about this. That after you had all these snacks, your hormones are already kicked into overdrive. So they're reversing on you. The same hormones that want to protect you and help you to heal yourself is now revolting. And they're making you gain the weight or maintain the current weight. But then you ate about 500 calories of snacks, and now you're going to bed. Now you're going to bed after you had 500 calories. Your body's stressed out of its mind. You're literally dragging all the way to the bath, to your bed. You didn't brush your teeth. You just basically, you didn't even take a shower. You just jumped in your PJs and you went to bed because you're exhausted. But what ultimately happens is that now your body has to deal with these 500 calories of junk food that you consume. So your body can't heal. It's in a traumatic state right now. So that evening was a bust. So now what you're doing is you're going to have to operate and try to do the same thing again, but it's the weekend. And guess what? You still got another night. You can watch some shows and you ultimately do it again. So now you did it 2 days in a row. But here's the other thing is that since we're in COVID, you can actually do this every day if you want to. You can actually do this every day if you want to, because you don't got to go to work. Matter of fact, or if you start work at 9 o'clock, all you got to do is go downstairs, you're still in your PJs, turn on the computer, and you're ready to roll. So our timing, your health is way off. We're out of balance, and so is your body. And then you can't figure out why. Look, I'm doing the exercise, Wallace. I'm drinking my water, Wallace. I'm doing my 100 grams, Wallace. I'm doing everything. Yes, but you're forgetting the stress and the sleep. Wallace, I'm getting into sleep. Yeah, but you're stressing too much still. You're stressing too much because you're worrying about stuff that doesn't impact you. And you keep ejecting these chemical hormones every time. And the thing is that there's one thing of you being in a traumatic experience and you're stressed. But if you're going to have these small incidents of stress, and think about it, the accumulation of that is just like you having one big fear attack. So there's one thing you being stressed out, that's one thing that impacts you. But if you've been stressed all day, you're just pumping chemicals all day long that continues to accumulate. When most people are stressed out, what ends up happening? That they get ulcers, right? Or you end up eating Tums because you're having antacid issues with your stomach and everything else. But that all goes back to the stress. Because what you're doing is you're creating chemical hormones and it's affecting your gut. And you understand what an ulcer is. An ulcer is that you've had so much stress that the lining of your stomach, the hydrochloric acid that's in your stomach, because of all the stress that you've created, you burnt a hole through the lining of your stomach, and now it's impacting and it's oozing out of your gut and it's going to other parts of your organs. That hydrochloric acid that's in your stomach, that's literally breaks down food and makes it a liquid form. Because of the stress, you created a hole inside your stomach, and now this hydrochloric acid is now implementing other ways, and now you've got heartburn. So the other impact is that whenever you have heartburn, the same issue is that you may have your esophagus is now being inflamed. So if your esophagus is being inflamed, the hydrochloric acid that needs to stay in your stomach is going up your esophagus, and now you're burning the esophagus lining. So two issues are going to happen. One issue is, and this is all stress related, one issue is that you're stressing so much that you're having ulcers, which is causing you're going to have an antacid. Or the second one is the little valve that prevents the hydrochloric acid from your esophagus to your stomach actually gets so opened up that the acid goes up your esophagus, and now you're burning that esophagus. And then it's the same thing. You're going to have to get medication just to prevent that from being so irritated. And all of that is from one issue, and that's stress. And the bulk of the stress that we're worrying about has no impact of you. So before you start stressing off of stuff, let's think about, is it really impacting me? Or do I not really have to worry about this particular issue? My wife think I'm cold. She's like, you don't worry about nothing, Wallace. Yeah, you're right. Because I got to look and say, is this affecting me though? If it's not, then I can't. I prayed, like I said, I prayed and I wish him the best, but I can't do nothing about it. Because otherwise you feel like you're in the circus and you're trying to juggle all these balls. And after a while, you juggle all these balls. One of them are going to break and fall. And then the one that broke and fall, you couldn't do anything about it anyway. And you're like, now you're sweeping up this whole thing. you're on the ground and you're sweeping this whole thing that broke, but it should have never been something to worry about in the first place. So stress is serious. It's just as traumatic as you not getting enough sleep. You understand that just not getting enough sleep is also stress, right? It almost runs hand in hand. If you don't get enough rest, you're going to be stressed. You're putting stresses on the body, whether it's emotional or not. So what we got to do is we really got to look back and say, is there anything that's going to impact me that I can clear up? Or should I just write it off and not even worry about it and say, look, I can't do anything about it, but I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to be cold about it at all. But you also got to know that you have to be mindful about the decisions you're making and the choices that you're having. So I wrote down and I wrote notes to myself, and I wanted to give you a couple of tips of how to prevent stress. A couple of tips on how to prevent stress. And I wrote down about 15 to 20. So I'm going to hit these off to you. You can write them down, think about it. The first one, which is a biggie, and many of you are doing it already, is meditation. And you realize just reading the word in the morning is a form of meditation, right? Reading the word in the morning is a form of meditation. But I would sincerely ask that one of the things that you do as a daily habit is to take a little bit of time and meditate. Before the day gets busy, take some time, find a spot that you can call your own in your house. Sit down, grab yourself a cup of tea, whatever you want to do. But this is your quiet time before everything starts rolling. Leave your phone alone. Don't mess with the phone. Matter of fact, I'm a big fan of you having a meditation app. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, but I thought I was meditating. I thought I was actually doing meditation before. And I realized that I really wasn't. And there was one app that literally has changed my life regarding meditation. I didn't even realize, because what we try to do, and this is what I was doing before, was I was trying to meditate, but I was forcing the issue. Like I'm forcing myself, like I'm trying to meditate, but all this stuff is still like work, it's this, my wife, the kids, my son's at school and blah, blah, blah. So the one thing that I learned in meditation that you can't, if you try to force everything to disappear, you're never going to do it. In fact, you make more stress when you try to, because you're meditating and you're like, get out of here. You're in your mind, you're like, no, I don't want to think about that. No, get out of here, work. And so you're actually making it worse. So one of the apps that I ended up using, this has probably been about 4 years ago, was called Headspace. The app is called Headspace. Headspace? I think it's called Headspace. It's a meditation app, and it was free for 30 days. It was for free. And I said, let me just try this thing. I thought it was phenomenal because every day they give you a little block of instruction, maybe about 5 minutes or so. And it's a session, and they teach you how to meditate. It blew me away because the whole premise was that you do not force the issue when you meditate. It's almost in their scenario was pretend that you are meditating, and let's say that there's a little feather that is floating around in your meditation realm, and every time that something comes, the feather just pushes it over to the side. So you're not even dwelling on it. Like it comes, you could see it come like you're meditating and something comes into your sphere, but this feather just kind of brushes it to the side, and then you just keep meditating. as opposed to just looking at it and say, oh man, what is this? Get out of here. You're messing up the whole scenario. So when that came into play, that changed my whole scenario. So I ended up changing it a little bit different. But the point was that instead of dwelling on, because stuff is going to come. Like when you're meditating, stuff is going to come. But are you looking at it and dwelling on it and say, get out of here? And, or are you just letting it bypass and just float away? So I came up with that I'm meditating, but I'm using, let's say, a church steeple or something, whatever it is, but something that is like a steeple. So when a thought comes into my meditation realm, it gets to the steeple and it just pushes to the side. And another one will come down and it just pushed to the other side. I'm not dwelling on it at all. I received it, but I just let it float and move out. And that way I'm not even dwelling on it. That one thing impacted my meditation. Instead of me dwelling on everything that was coming down and thinking about it, I just let it bypass because I understand that you can't quiet your mind. We try to meditate and we're trying to quiet our mind, but you can't. Your mind is always going to run. In fact, when you try to force meditation, more stuff comes. So think about it as just pushing it away. Let it push away. Headspace, I ended up doing it and I wanted to commit myself. Literally, I ended up buying it for a year and I did it every single day for 365 days. And I probably missed 3 days. But every day in the morning for the entire year, I did it. I missed 2 or 3 days because whatever, and I didn't stress on it, but I'm telling you that literally meditation is a completely different object. So I would ask you that, use the 30 days. It's called Headspace. Just try it. Yes. Yeah. Try it. Try the app. Might be 14 days. I'm not sure what it is now, but try it. And at least it was a worthwhile investment to me. I don't remember, maybe it was $35 or whatever, but it has changed the way that I meditate. All right. The next one is practicing deep breathing. Just the simple fact of deep breathing, just like we do it after every exercise. I'm sure it feels great, but it's amazing when you're doing an exercise that we always do the 5 deep breaths, right? 5 deep breaths. It calms you down. So after the exercise, those 5 deep breaths actually reposition you. Yeah, you're probably out of breath and we were kicking butt and everything else, but the 5 deep breaths actually put you back in a state of mind of calmness. So taking some deep breaths, even before the meditation, breathing in through the nose, blowing out with the mouth, taking the oxygen in through the nose and then blowing out with the mouth. The next one, the stress is stop hitting the snooze button, y'all, when you're waking up. Stop it. Second thing is stop using your phone as the alarm. Get a separate clock or something else and use that as your alarm. And then take your phone and put your phone in a dresser that you can't get to the phone, or put it in another room. Because what you're going to do is you hit the snooze, or what are you going to do? As soon as you pick up the phone, that's the next thing. You get out of your room, you get out of your and you pick up the phone. And then all of a sudden the day's rolling. Why not you not worry about the phone? Well, here's the first thing. Every time you hit the snooze, you're creating stress. You hit the snooze, you think you're doing something. But what you're doing is that you set the alarm for a particular reason. You set it up for a reason, for a particular time. You keep hitting you hit it again, you hit it again, you hit it again. And now guess what? You're getting up because you're 20 minutes late, you're running around, and now you're stressed. If you set your alarm, just get up and get going. Stop hitting the snooze. And like I said, the second one is don't use your alarm on your phone. Use another device and then take your phone and put it in a dresser that you can't just go to your medicine table or whatever you got next to you just to grab it because you came up with some bright idea. Or, oh man, wait a minute. I was supposed to send something to my boss. Yeah, because you got the phone right there. But since it's not there, you can't worry about that because you're not going to get out of your bed to go to the dresser. Right? So keep the phone at a distance and then use another device as your alarm. My alarm is my Fitbit, actually. Right? I set the alarm at 5 o'clock. Let's say I got to get up at 5 o'clock, and I'll set my Fitbit and it'll buzz. I'll turn it off and I'll get up. But I don't use my phone because the phone is a distraction and it's very, very easy for you to check your emails because that device starts buzzing and you're like, oh, who could that be? It ain't nobody. Leave the thing alone. Next one. Stop checking your emails in the morning. And stop worrying about your emails after work, especially when you're home. It is not going anywhere. Right? So stop checking the emails. Once you finish work for the evening, that's it. Even if you check it and you say, I'll respond to that in the morning, you're going to dwell on it overnight. And now you're creating additional stress. And you might even feel a priority, say, you know what, let me go just take care of this right now. Because, that way they'll get it in the morning. No, but that's stress. So why not just not even worry about the emails? And guess what? In the morning, after you do your meditation, after you read the word and you do your exercise, then check your emails. Next thing is a beautiful thing to do is just to prevent stress. Have a journal. Right? Write a journal down. Talk about your day. Things that might be stressing you out or bother you, write it down and forget about it. As Italians would go, forget about it. Just write it down and forget about it. Put it in a journal. Get your thoughts out of your mind. Write them down. Keep it moving. Another one is excellent form of stress. Take a 10-minute walk outside, especially now. It is amazing when you just go outside for 10 minutes. We're not asking you 30 minutes, 20 minutes, a 10-minute walk outside. Nature is something else. God put something on. Nature is amazing. Don't put on any headphones when you go for your walk. Listen to nature. Listen to the birds. Enjoy and take advantage of the sun. Let the sun's rays come down on you. But what we're doing is that you understand that every time you're putting the headphones on, you're creating another distractor. I get it. If you want to use the headphones, you're going for a walk and you got some gospel and everything else, but do you have to do that every single time? I'm telling you that you want to hear sounds, listen to them birds chirping in the morning, boy. I mean, they flying by, buzzing through. You get crisp air. I mean, it changes the dynamic. It's another form of meditation. But when you got the headphones on and you listen to music, nothing wrong with that. I do it too. But what it does, it distracts you from your being. It distracts you from thinking about how beautiful this day is. Man, there's plenty of times I go to Allen Pond and I might, before I even go home, I might park and I'll walk to Allen Pond and I'll sit at one of the benches and I'll just let the sun rays just hit me. I'll just sit there. I ain't worried about nobody. I might have left my phone in the car on purpose. And I would go out, sit at a bench, sit in the angle of the sun and let the sun's rays just touch me. And as far as I'm concerned, that's just God giving me a little healing. Right? But if you got your headphones on, you are now distracted. Nature is amazing. So make sure you take advantage of nature. Next thing is essential oils. experiment with essential oils. You should have a diffuser in your house, right? You could always get some lavender oil, some sandalwood, peppermint, eucalyptus, and let that bad boy just simmer in your house. Let it just permeate around your house. Essential oils is amazing because it has a calming, many of them have this calming feeling in your house. And if any of you had lavender before or just put it in this, oh man, I mean, it is just calming. I'm sure many of you probably put in your bath water or anything else. But get a diffuser and some essential oils and let that in, even in your office while you're working. Get a diffuser and let it just permeate in your office. The next one is just having I would just call it a stress relief first aid kit. A stress relief first aid kit is anything for you that you can use to eliminate stress. It might just be that you sit down and, I don't know, you might have your favorite tea bags in a little thing that some tea bags, and you can sit back and just have a favorite tea and just sit back and relax. Maybe you've got some shea butter that has a particular smell to it, and you just rub that thing down and sit and relax. But you got to have basically a first aid kit. There's one that's if you get hurt, but another first aid kit is think about some things that you could just relax and just be calm. I mean, you can use an app and just play, raindrops or the waterfall or just something in the background. I love the fact of just driving out to the beach and just sitting at the beach and listen. I'm addicted to the ocean, just waves. The smell of the ocean. I mean, come on. It just has such a calming feeling. So even if you're home or you're in the house, you can play some relaxation music. Another one is reduce the caffeine. Maybe you like tea, maybe you like coffee and everything else, but it can be decaffeinated. You don't have to have the caffeine. You can still enjoy your tea. You can have green tea, just have it decaffeinated. I had already talked about listening to music. Find some music. Instead of watching TV while you're eating, put on some jazz, some smooth jazz. You don't have to have the TV on. Listen to smooth jazz, relax, enjoy your food, appreciate the food that you're eating. Many times, your significant other is made dinner and you wolfed it down. You're watching TV and you didn't even realize. You look back like the plate's empty and your hubby's like, well, how was it? How was it? And you're like, it was great. But the truth is, you don't even remember it because you were so focused watching TV while you're sitting back watching TV like this. And then all of a sudden the plate is empty and you're like, I don't even remember what I ate. Trust me, your spouse knows if you enjoyed the meal or not, and they would appreciate you saying thank you because they were spending a half hour, or whatever. But you look back and you wolfed it down, and they're like, dang, you hungry? No, you were watching TV and you weren't focused. That's what it was. The next one. Even if you have your phone at your bedside, put on a notification for don't disturb. Right? There is a function on your phone that you can put don't disturb, which means it will reduce the distractions while you're sleeping. 3 more I can give you. One is to call a friend. Maybe you're stressed out of your mind. Hey, call a friend. Chit chat, get that thought off your mind. But whenever you talk to a friend, just can I advise you on this, is that talk to a friend that is not going to judge you. Right? You got friends that'll judge you, and you got others that'll listen, have an ear and not judge you, and you don't feel judged. Because that don't feel fun. You're going to call somebody, you want to vent. Sometimes you just want to vent. You don't need a response. You just want somebody to bounce it off and let them hear it, and then you're fine. But if it's somebody else, well, I wouldn't have did it that way. You're like, nah, that's not what I called you for, though. I just want to get this off my chest. Right? So call a friend, but make sure that that friend doesn't judge you. Some people, unfortunately, that they're happy that you're down and out Beverly Hills. Unfortunately, I'll use the scenario is some people, when they're in pain, they want to hurt other people. It's like a porcupine. The porcupine has a bunch of sharp edges, and if you pet it one way, it's no problem. But if you pet it the other way, you're about to tear some stuff up. Or if you make him annoyed, all of a sudden his pricklers come out and he's going to defend himself. But that's what happens when many times when a friend is in pain, they will insert pain to other people because that's just a defense mechanism. So be mindful of the person that you want to bounce stuff off of and make sure that it's a person that's not going to judge you. If all else fails and you stress out of your mind, you can take the day off from work, you know. They ain't going to lose no sleep. You don't have to be sick to take a day off. It's called mental health day. You don't have to be sick. You could be like, look, I'm just sick of you today. So you can take a day off. You can take a mental day. You can take the middle of the week. You know, you find out next week it's 75 degrees outside. You know what? All of a sudden, I ain't feeling too hot. And guess what? That's a mental health day. That's a mental health day. And don't be bashful and shy about it. I said, look, I'm not feeling well. I'm calling in slick today. Not sick. I'm calling in slick today. You can do that. 2 more to go. Next one is maybe you're bummed out or anything like that. I'm sure that you probably have a photo book, a book of photos back in the day that you could always flip through and just look at the memories when you had a blast and everything else, just to kind of reflect on stuff. Or maybe even have a Google photo album that you downloaded some of your favorite pics and just have that in a folder when you know what, you just want to get a laugh or you want to, have that one folder available. You can just go on your phone and flip through it and be like, yeah, just to cheer you up, Matter of fact, if you want to hold on to that my Monday motivation, just listen to my ignorant self yelling. You can do that too. You down out in Beverly Hills, let me go find one of Wallace Monday thing and have him yell at me. And I know y'all probably on Monday like, this dude here, what is wrong with this man? But you know what? It's just to cheer you up. It's just to cheer you up because listen, life's too short. Last one is make a gratitude journal or make a gratitude list. Write a list of things you're grateful for. Write a list of things that you're grateful for. And when you start writing down the list of the things you're grateful for, you realize the stuff you worrying about ain't all that. So write a gratitude list or gratitude journal. Remember we talked about a journal? Journal that thing in there. But make a separate gratitude list and just say, you know what? Let me look at the things that I'm thankful for. And then the other things, it starts to dissipate when you start realizing, I'm worrying about stuff that really don't even matter. So I'm a big fan of doing a gratitude list, journal, whatever you want to call it. And you know what? Worst case scenario, here's the last one. You could have a piece of chocolate, right? You stress, have a Hershey Kiss or something, or a peppermint patty. have a piece of chocolate, enjoy yourself. Don't get carried away about it, but get yourself a piece of chocolate and just sit back and relax. But listen, let's not take life so serious, y'all. That's the only thing I don't want you to do, because we are worrying too much about stuff that really doesn't matter, and we're getting ourselves really ramped up. And the energy that you have, whether you realize it, you are a magnet. We have positive and negative. We're a positive and negative magnet. And you can repel people just as easy as you can be positive. And in fact, when you come to somebody and you can feel, especially women, your intuition is out of this world. I mean, men ain't got nothing on. We ain't got nothing on y'all. Women's intuition is amazing. And I was joking around there because men are dumb when it comes down to intuition. You know, we will run around town and we we got all these apps on our phone, and all we got to do is Google Maps and no, we don't want to do that. We just want to figure it out on our own. All we had to do was go in 5 seconds and just put in the address and go right to the address. But no, we want to keep running around in circles because we think it's around the corner. Let me just keep going. And we wasted so much time. But the intuition that y'all have is amazing. Women's intuition is awesome. We don't necessarily have that. In a sense, we all have a certain amount of judgment, but there's a difference with intuition. So when someone else is coming across you, when you're coming across somebody else, you can feel if somebody is repelling you, or you can feel if there's an attraction. Men, a lot of times, we put our guard up and we don't see it, right? Because we're putting our shoulders up and we're just like two bulls in a. But women, on the other hand, if somebody comes up to you, you're like, oh, wait a minute, this don't feel right. This don't feel right. What's happening here? And you can feel the energy that this person's coming, and something ain't right about this person. You could feel it. But men, on the other hand, we can feel it too, but we let the ego come into play, and then we bypass those things. So the only thing I'll ask you to do is that please take some time and look at the things that don't really matter and brush them to the side. And the other things that do really matter, then make them matter, and then focus on those particular areas. If you don't meditate, please take some time to meditate. And definitely, if you haven't tried that app, I'm sure it's even 7 days. Just check it out. Just check it out. You don't have to buy it. But I'm telling you that I've tried a lot of stuff. And of course, you can imagine I've been trying to meditate. That has impacted me significantly. And it was worth the $40 that I had to pay, or whatever it was. Because a lot of us are meditating wrong, and we're forcing the issue. And then we think we're meditating, but we're not. So that's all I have, y'all. I hope that helped. Is there anything that we talked about today that you had a question about, or anything that you wanted to ponder on or bring up, or anything that we talked about today?
I have a question, Wallace.
Yes.
I like to walk long distances,
Yes.
but there are many places that I want to walk. I don't want to do it by myself.
Yes.
So I would be interested in a walking group.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we all live in different areas. I live in Laurel.
Yep.
So there's times I don't want to drive to Bowie.
Yeah.
So something, someplace or group that's close to Laurel, if you could, if you know of any, could you recommend?
Sure. In fact, there's one group, and you may have even heard of it before, but it's called it's actually PG County runs the group, and I think it's called the 300 group, something like that. But they're actually a walking group, and they meet at different parks. If I'm correct, it's either every week or every month. But it's run by the park district and they're free. And I'm telling you that 30, 40, 50 people show up. And the commitment to them are that they actually earn badges. Like, so if you're in the group, they have a website, and every time that you walk, what they do is that you get closer and closer to these particular badges. And a lot of them have on their jacket, like all these medals, right? That kind of give you, but well, I can talk about it. I believe it's called the 300 group, but I know also that there are a couple of groups that are in Laurel that are walking groups. The other one, which is a national group, and they have chapters different around, and it's called Girl Trek. And maybe some of you have heard about that, but it's called Girl Trek. Girl Trek. And if I'm correct, it's an African-American women walking group. But they're all over also. And they have different groups. And in fact, on Saturdays, many times on Saturdays when we were at Watkins Park, they were walking. There's maybe 12 to 20 of them, and they were all walking, and they all had their Girl Trek clothing on. But it's a big organization, and I would probably be willing to say that they probably have a group that's in Laurel or in that area but I'll make a note of it and just check it out.
Okay, so I have two other questions, and we didn't talk about this tonight.
Sure.
My next question is about the Fitness Pal.
Yes.
When I entered my food last month, I made a mistake and hit a selection that was 550 pounds. Calories, I'm sorry.
Calories, okay.
And I was wondering why I didn't hear you all the way from Bowie, but I didn't know how to remove it. So maybe you want to, not tonight, but just give me some instructions.
Yes.
How to remove it. I just left it there because I couldn't find out how to delete it.
So the only thing you have to do, honestly, is you can right swipe it. If you right swipe that particular function, it shows up as a delete function. So in other words, that one thing, if you swipe it to the right or the left, one of the two, you'll see it turns red, and then you hit it, and then it'll delete.
Okay.
The only thing you do is you put your finger on it, swipe it left or right. I forgot which one, and then it will allow itself to delete.
Okay. My last question. I purchased the bands, and I'm still using the 10-pound.
Yes.
Should I be elevating myself, or would you be assigning me that?
Good question. So any of the bands or any of the exercises or even the boot camps, if we're doing them, well, not really the boot camps. Let's say that you're doing it's a trainerized exercise, and in the exercise, you should have the ability to do no more than 12. If you get past 12 when you're doing an exercise, then you should increase the weight or slow down the movement. Two choices. So let's say you're using let's say using a 5-pound, and you finish the 5 pounds and you get to 12 and you're like, that was cool. And you go to the next one, 12, that's cool. No, you need to do two things. Either bring it up to a 7 or an 8. And that way you're going to get back down to 7, 6, 7, 8. Or you slow the movement down, which creates more stress on the particular movement. Does that make sense? So let's say, for example, you get to 12 and you're like, boom, and you're doing the 12 and then like, no struggle, because you've been using that particular weight for a period of time. Then now your body has become accustomed to that. You're stronger. Now you get another weight, but let's say you can only do 6, 7. And then your body's lactic acid gets overwhelmed. You're like, all right, that's it. Well, I'm good with that, because now your body now has to get acclimated to this particular weight. So now you can get to 7. You're like, all right, I only did 7. Next one, I only did 7. But maybe a week or two later, all of a sudden you're able to do 8. Week or two later, or maybe that next week, you might be able to do 9.
So that's what the dumbbells, but I'm talking about the bands.
It'd be the same thing for the same
Okay.
thing for the bands, right?
All right.
So it'll be because you have the 5s, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s,
Yeah.
50s.
Yes.
So let's say that you're using a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of you going to 20, what you want to do is you want to take the 10 and then add the 5 to make it 15. Right? So instead of you going from 10 to 20, you want to go to 10 to 15. So now you're going to take the 10 and the 5 and connect them both together. And now you're going to go at 15 as opposed to jumping up to 10. So you're going to go increments of 5s as opposed to increments of 10. So you're taking 2 bands, combining them together. So you're going to get your 5 and your 10 as opposed to go to 10 to 20. So you're going 10 to 15. Or if you're using a 5, then you go to 5 to 10. You want to be in the,
What I got from you were 10, 20, 30.
yeah, but you have, you have a 5.
I
And
don't
you have
have
a, yeah, it should be a 5. So you
I'll
have,
look. I'll
yeah.
look and see.
you have a
Okay.
5, a 10, 20, 30, 40, and a 50.
All right, so combine them then.
So then take the 2 and then go in increments of 5.
Okay.
And what you want to be is you want to be between 7 and 12. But when you get to 12, then move up to the next one.
All right. Thank
So
you.
you can keep the resistance. Because remember, we want you to be strong. We want you to have strength, right? We want you to build muscle. When you get past that 12 to 15 now, you're no longer, your muscles are not being implemented. You're really going to a cardio mode. And we don't want you to be in a cardio mode. We want you to be down into a resistant type of a posture. So your window is 7 to 12. But when you get to 13 and it's easy, then increase the weight in increments of 5.
Okay.
Because we don't want you going past 13. I don't like that. I don't like that. You need to stay right up in there, right up in that sweet spot. Don't be going past that. Step them up, step them up.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other things? Anybody else? I hope you all got some nuggets out of there.
Mhm. Yes.
If anything, definitely the notes that you wrote before you go to bed tonight, just look at them real quick and see which ones are practical and which ones sounds good, but at least choose one of them and use that for this week and say, you know what, I'm going to try this one and this one. Let's see what happens. Don't try to do them all because then there's stress. Take 2 and say, you know what, I'm going to try this one and I'm going to try that one. And then, hey, next week, maybe pull out another 2, whatever it is, but let's not try to do them all. That's what stress comes from. Take 2 of them and then run with them. All right. Excellent, y'all. I'm glad y'all hung out with me today. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And I want you to have a wonderful evening because y'all got to go to bed now. Y'all got what? I hope y'all should have drank your honey already.
Yeah,
Wallace,
yeah. Have a
Wallace, I did want
good
to.
evening, ladies. Thank you so much.
Wallace,
Nice meeting everyone.
Absolutely.
Nice
Wanda,
meeting you.
I
Wanda,
did want to say something about Girl Trek. It is an African American group, as you had said. So I joined the local one near me.
so can you, if you got a couple of seconds, can you explain Girl Trek so Denise kind of understands what that is? And if
So
there's a
yeah, they do walk like Wallace said. We see them a lot in Watkins Park. I kind of joined when it was the winter months, so I didn't really get to connect. I do get the emails. It is I'm hoping to be more involved this year, but it is they walk. A lot of times it's more on for a purpose, like purpose driven, like when all the things was going on with the Black Lives Matter and the racisms and so forth. So they tend to walk with, I mean, and a lot of times they, say, even if you don't have anyone to walk with, just walking for a purpose at noon on every Friday or something like that. And then they have variations of different individuals that they might highlight, like Women's Month. They've been highlighting some of the Black women, historical women who've made impacts in our nation or just in our race. So it varies.
So Wanda, is it just in your area or is it?
No, it's not, like he said, it's everywhere. You just go to Girl Trek. I'll look for the
I can look it
link.
up.
Yeah, look it up. You just put Girl Trek and you'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah, they have organizations that are spread out all over, and
Right.
I'd probably be pretty comfortable to say that they probably have a chapter that's up there in that area, and they probably have walking and everything else. One of the things that let me mention this, and I'll let you guys go. That Girl Check, and my wife actually told me about this because she also is in the organization. And this happened about 3 months ago. That I think it was Missouri. They were in Missouri and they were walking. They always wear their Girl Trek gear. And there was a gentleman in a pickup truck, a Caucasian middle-aged man. And he was saddened. He looked real saddened. Do you know that he stopped the young ladies and said, "Can you, I'm really going through some stuff right now, and something made me want to ask you, can you pray for me?" That's exactly what he said. He asked, and it was a bunch of them. He says, I feel overwhelmed, and I just want to know if you can pray for me.
Oh.
And they stopped and they all got around him and prayed on him. But it's amazing how things go. And he didn't know, but the Spirit made him go. Because here it is, here's a Caucasian man and a bunch of African American women. But he said he felt the need to ask them for prayer. And he bowed his head down and they all got around him and prayed over him. And he went on his way and they went walking again.
Wow.
He didn't know nothing about Girl Trek, but something. Remember we were talking about energy? He obviously he felt the energy of their presence, and it was so overwhelming that he asked them. I mean, what is the odds of that really you know what I mean? In this turmoil and stuff that we going, that ain't nothing but God doing that. That's not, you know what I mean? That's not. But the beauty is that there are good people out here.
Yes.
They're good people out here. Never forget that. Never forget that.
So is that TREK?
It's TREK, yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, Girl Trek.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Ladies, you all
Good
are
night.
awesome, and I'm proud of you. So have a wonderful evening, all right? We'll talk to you soon.
Have a wonderful evening, ladies.
All right.
Thanks, Wallace.
Everyone have a good one. Bye-bye. Thanks, Wallace.
Yeah. See ya.